if we are going to be role models, if we are going to have role models, they're going to be role models which back the Islamic values that we have, the values where respect is important, discipline is important. You won't speak back to your mother, you won't speak back to your father, you'll sit down and drink. All the things which I hold valuable, I want to impart that to the kids. Welcome to the newly branded Game Fight Bradford podcast. We're taking away the name, the flowing state of BJJ. We are Game Fight Bradford, so let's just brand the podcast Game Fight Bradford podcast. Tubzi, what's the topic today?
So today we're going to take a deep dive into Game Fight Bradford, where it was born, the journey, the ups and downs, how coaches battle throughout all of the difficulties, the peaks and troughs with any kind of business and any kind of situation that we find ourselves in terms of running a club. There's going to be ups and downs. So we're going to explore that. We're also going to explore how Umar decided from training from 13 years old, kind of is like heavily involved in the gym now and his journey throughout, and kind of give you some insight onto what kind of battles coach has had to face going through this. In essence, can you tell us, coach, what it takes to build a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club?
Fundamentally, it takes lots of failure. This is not our first Jiu-Jitsu club. We didn't just start Jiu-Jitsu club and it became what it is today. In essence, it's about 3 or 4 iterations of failure that we've had. Even inside Game Fight, we failed multiple times before we've got to where we are today. And we'll get into some of them stories a little bit later on. But like, there's so much behind the scenes, admin, social media. Oh my God, social media is such a nightmare. I hate it with a passion. But social media and just the worry about other people and making other people better. The conversations that me and Umar have late night about how we're going to make this person better, how we're going to do this in terms of syllabus, what's happening here. It's all consuming.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, if you ask any successful businessman out there, everyone says they failed multiple times, and it just takes that one time to succeed. I'm sure, as we'll explore, like you said, you've attempted. This is your 4th iteration of the business, and then obviously, I'm presuming the other 3 may have not been the successful for whatever reason.
Catastrophic failure.
I will explore that and find out what the kind of pivot point on the failure was. So to go straight into it, can you briefly describe the club in terms of students, the culture, the vibe?
So until recently, we were a grappling specialist club. We have introduced striking art, so we introduced Muay Thai very recently. And we're here for the community. That's what we're here for. We're here to build a community, get as many people in the door as possible, get good role models, and just give back as much as we can to the community, to the people who support us.
So just a quick snapshot of your journey. I know we've done a comprehensive deep dive into Coach Babar's origin. Can you just tell the viewers, if you've got any new viewers, where did BJJ start for you? Where did you first train? What made you get into it?
So I started when I was in like my mid-teens in a local community center. I was forced to start training by my elder brother. So I didn't have a choice, but I fell in love with grappling. Then I switched across to doing grappling. It was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but with more of a judo slant on it at start. Then we went across to Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, did a lot of, got my black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, but in the background I was still doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and my black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu around about the same time. Then I moved from the club I was training at that time, which was Kickers. I moved to Nova Vida, stayed there for quite a few years, got my purple belt at Nova Vida. Then I went to AVT, spent a long time at AVT. AVT moved, I moved with them, they moved again, I moved with them, they moved again. I was like, this is too far now. Then I came to Game Fight, and I've been at Game Fight ever since.
Wow.
And that's where I got my brown and my black belt.
And Umar, I know you've joined us now. I think this is your 2nd or 3rd podcast, rather than being behind the cameras, taking all the headache of setting the cameras up and so on, and you're now with us obviously on screen. Just for the viewers, do you want to tell them a little bit about your kind of journey in a quick snapshot, where it started and what your influences were?
So I started back when under the banner of Saracens BJJ, I think it was. Actually, I started before that. I started at Nova Vida when I was like 3, 4. little kid. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I was going to training with my dad. Then we moved to stopped for a bit, went to MA Institute, and I was small then. I remember I used to go up the red climbing frames, the holes in it. Used to climb up and down there every time I went to training. Go on the mats, run around a bit. And then I saw someone with the green belt on. I was like, I want that. How do I get that? And then to start training then. From there, we went to Umar. That was under the Saracens BJJ banner. Trained there when I was about 6 for a while. And then got to my orange belt. Then we stopped for a while. Then started again at Game Fight when I was about 13. That was my journey to Game Fight.
What were your influences to get into it at that point? And obviously your dad was training, and
my dad. He's going to training. Where's he going? I'll go with him. This looks cool. Beating people up. I want to do that too.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. So we've just done a quick kind of snapshot of Coach's full story, and Umar's let on some information about him in regard to what his influences were and his journey throughout. So we know obviously you were training at the time. You were training under multiple kind of gyms. This was prior to you opening your own. Why did you feel there was a need to open a gym, your own, within Jiu-Jitsu? Do you remember the actual point where you actually thought, I want to do this on my own?
I always wanted my kids to do Jiu-Jitsu, right? Because one thing that myself and Bhai Muhammad, who used to train with me at the time, said that we want to bring Jiu-Jitsu back to Bradford. We had to travel at this point to Huddersfield to go train. So Umar was like on and off. We haven't really started yet, so we do a little bit with me. And I really one thing I really wanted to do is bring Jiu-Jitsu back to Bradford. Now there were schools in Bradford, but I wanted to coach. I wanted to bring it back to our community because not many people in our community were doing Jiu-Jitsu at that time. But then I was like, actually, you know what? If I just want Umar to train, why don't I take Umar to AVT? And we did that a couple of times. Right? Where we went to AVT, we went to Novida, went here and there, wherever we went to Pontefract. I remember taking him to Pontefract. Yeah, on Thursdays we used to take him all the way to Pontefract to train there. So we go into these different gyms, and I remember the point where Umar wasn't with me. I was sat before a class, and one of the instructors, I'm not going to say which gym he was from, right? One of the instructors was talking about a night out that he'd had, and in the night out, he got some ecstasy tablets, and he decided to stick them in an orifice which wasn't oral.
Don't take drugs.
And I'm sat there listening to the story, and everyone's laughing, and it's a funny story, right? But one thing that an old coach said of mine is, whether you like it or not, if you stand in front of a class, you are a role model.
Agreed.
Because he said, do you want to be a role model? I went flat, no, I'm not a role model. Because I know my faults. And he said, listen, the moment you stand in front of a class, you are a role model to everyone in that class. And I'm sat there thinking, this dude's an instructor for kids, and that's where he's putting them tablets. Like, the fact you take them tablets in the first place, and then what made you think of that? I'm like, I can't have my kids having this as a role model. It just can't happen. So at that point, I was determined to open our own club with our own ethos, with an ethos where if we are going to be role models, if we are going to have role models, they're going to be role models which back the Islamic values that we have. The values where respect is important, discipline is important. You won't speak back to your mother. You won't speak back to your father. You'll sit down and drink. All the things which I hold valuable, I want to impart that to the kids. That was a very distinct point. I was just like, there is no way this style of coaching is going to influence my kids.
Yeah, I was thinking, how has he remembered, or before he told the story, how has he remembered? But I guess if anyone tells you that they did what this particular coach did, you will have this nightmare. And you mentioned the culture. Well, you didn't, but indirectly the culture at your club, what you were training at that time, you weren't in agreement, and in terms of you didn't kind of condone this kind of action that this particular individual took. So at the point where you've kind of now decided that you want to, go at it alone, was there a desire for a different culture at the club? And I know culture at Game Fight Bradford for you is massive, and the whole ethos of the club is built around that. Did that catalyst this desire within to have a different culture at the club? Because where you were training, you didn't want too
So
much.
yeah, so if you look at the training, the places where I have coached, right? So if you look at the Novita Bradford first, I wasn't the real driving force behind that club. Like it was by Muhammad. So he was kind of the boss man, and I was one of the coaches. It was kind of that sort of scenario, and the culture of that was very disciplined. It was very like be on time, and that's not so much my nature. But there's nothing wrong with that culture. That's fantastic, and that club was good. When we went to Saracens, I didn't really have to do anything for their culture because we were in a mosque. Right? We were in the mosque. The culture had to be whatever the mosque culture was. So there wasn't much about that. Here, when we came to Game Fight, originally, I'm going to be honest, the culture wasn't where I wanted it to be because we'd be training and there'd be people on the bag and people on the mats and other people around, and you try to do jiu-jitsu and it's like it was just, and it was always cold. Yeah,
Freezing. The double,
you,
triple layer socks.
Wow.
As
I
I
don't
call
wear
those.
socks on the mats, but I
Yeah.
had to resort to wearing wrestling boots. It was that cold.
Freezing.
And then when we went to Wakefield Road, that's when we started seeing the culture of game fight develop. And people say that the coach brings the culture. And to an extent, there is. You go to different clubs, you see different coaches, and they bring different things. But fundamentally, it's the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. People have to buy in and people have to want to do it. So it's the people who build the culture. So I think it's as much as I want the respectful, the type of demeanor we have in the club, the family vibe, the respect vibe. It's people who come to the club who want that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like you said, the people come for the actual person. And don't get me wrong, Game Fight Bradford, we respect it as a club, but more so people affiliate themselves with you individually and the coaches like Umar, Musab, and so on, and their personalities. And that's what makes and drives the culture as well as the people coming.
Did you say Musab's got a personality?
Well, he's curly fries too much, but he's all right. I like him. I like him myself. Just a quick one for you, Umar. You've been training with your dad, or he's been teaching you, and more recently you've come onto the coaching team at Game Fight Bradford at this fourth iteration of club. Do you think your dad's style of coaching has changed from each club, and do you think that's been a driving factor to make the club successful, that his coaching style has bettered throughout?
I'm guessing you take lessons away from every failure and you get better and better, and that's the reason we fail. For his coaching style, I've said this quite a lot to him, and I say a lot. When I learn anything or anyone tries to coach me, his style is the only style I understand. If it's not in his style when typically teach things are step 1, step 2, step 3. Very simple. If it's not step 1, step 2, step 3, I find it really hard to understand. And that's because I've just been brought up my whole life doing jiu-jitsu like two or three times a day, like in a week, and him teaching me. So like everything I do is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 1, step 2, step 3. Yeah. And you see that come through when I'm teaching. It's typically step 1, step 2, step 3. Go away and do it. Come back. Now we do the next 3 steps. It's always 3 or 4 steps tops, and that's it. So coaching style, yeah, is what I'm used to now, and this is what I try to follow. And I'm guessing it's changed and developed as he's gone through the club as well.
So do you think because it's developed to this kind of, and as you say, you're always learning, everyone is, he's at this point now, it's with his coach style, do you think that's been a driving force towards the success of the club as well?
Yeah, 100%, because it's easy to understand. Everyone can understand it. Like sometimes some people come in and they'll teach and they'll just show you loads of things like random that are not linked together. It's everything's system, and like so the systems and the way we've been teaching and the way he's been teaching have been changing and adapting every so often. So this either will like, so for a while we did a specific position for a month, and then now we're on a thing where we do something for 2 weeks, leave it for 2 weeks, come back for 2 weeks, kind of thing. So we're always trying to find the best way to teach, and it's changed as we've gone on.
Yeah, I think coaching plays a massive part in the success of a club. Obviously, if the kids are not understanding what's happening, they're not going to come back, obviously, and then your personality as well and coach Umar. So I think that's from the time I've been coming, I think there's been trajectory upwards as well in what I've seen in your coaching, and I feel like that's been a massive kind of driving force to the success of the club as well. Okay, let's rewind back now. So we mentioned this is like the fourth evolution of Game Fight Bradford. Going back to the very first club or place you had, what were the challenges? What was the first training space like that you had at that time?
The first training space was school hall. So I didn't source it. I was like one of the coaches there. It was by Muhammad who really run the show. It was called Nova Vida Bradford. So we were training at Nova Vida at the time. And it was in that space where it was on MA Institute. I forgot the name. Lum Lane, that's the place, next to the masjid. So we're in Lum Lane, MA Institute. It's in the hall. We set out jigsaw mats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and put them away at the end. That was where we first started. And I wasn't really part of the admin. None of the advertising mattered to me. My whole thing was turn up, coach, go away. Was I a good coach at the time is a question that I'm guessing some people are asking. No, I was terrible. I didn't have a plan. I didn't study my students to see what they needed. I just came in and I taught what I thought needed to be taught or what I wanted to teach. It wasn't particularly good. In terms of, it was an experience and it was needed
It
to
was
be
a
where we are
starting
today.
point.
Yeah,
It was a
but
starting point.
the coaching wasn't particularly good at the time.
So I'm guessing this was way back, maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago or something.
Well, probably about 15 to 20 years ago.
Between 15 20 years ago, I can imagine there wasn't much exposure to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Kids were more into maybe striking and
There weren't
punching.
many kids back then.
Probably not. And this is exactly the question I wanted to ask. What kind of challenges did you face? I'm presuming one of the challenges was just to find bloody students.
Again, at this time, I wasn't taking charge of the club. Yeah. So whoever turned up, turned up. Whoever didn't. Typically, it was, and this is big now, it was word of mouth. So
Yeah.
people who knew people who lived in Pai Muhammad Street, like them guys came down, other people he knew, and then they found out about other people, and we had a bit of a
Yeah.
group going. But it was a core group, and the core group stuck with us.
Yeah, no, I remember that was the first exposure I had with Bilal Kresher and Yunus Razak. And we came down to MA Institute, and I remember Coach Mo, he was leading the show at the time, and you were there, and it was a good exposure. It was very different to how it is now. Obviously, I think at the times that's what it was, and then it's evolved to what it is now. So you started off at Nova Vida. You were, let's say, kind of a supporting role in that particular position by your own admission, and Coach Mo was leading the show. What happened next? Where did you go next? Where was your space, and what was it called?
So the next space was Tile Street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the next space was Tile Street Mosque. So it was in the basement, and again we had 40 mil mats. And typically, what happened is we split the class into two because the space wasn't that big.
Downstairs and upstairs.
Yeah. Almost starting to remember now. So by Muhammad, they'd take a set of kids upstairs. I'd be downstairs with a set of kids. I don't think we did adults there.
I think we did
You think?
after the kids class, because I remember I used to do the kids class.
How old were you at this time?
God with dates.
Young. 9 years old.
8, 9, something like that.
Wow, that's young.
Because we did the kids class, and then me and Umar went to go get food.
Okay.
And then we came back and ate in the basement bit, and then you guys trained.
Oh wow, I don't remember that.
And we used to do it
maybe we did.
after every
He's
session
younger,
we
he's
did
got
it.
better memory.
Yeah, maybe we did. Maybe we
But
did.
they weren't very busy at all.
No, they
It
weren't.
was very, very small class.
Yeah,
What was the club called at that time? Your second
it was still
iteration?
Nova Vida.
It was still Nova
Still
Vida.
Nova
So
Vida,
you and Coach Mohammed still were together at that point.
Yeah.
And not to say you're not together now, as friends, but you were
Still teaching together.
Still teaching together. What was different from the second iteration of Nova Vida, and what learnings do you think was the most important taken away from the first iteration?
At that point, nothing. So we just got kicked out of the first venue. So we found so we had to find another one, and this is the venue we found.
I feel like that gave you a bit more exposure to kids, number one.
Because of the mosque.
Because of the mosque.
Yeah.
Because the size, I remember the size of the
Class increased,
grew,
didn't it?
because the downstairs class was pretty big. It was decent. I remember I went upstairs once to give Coach Muhammad a letter or something. He told me. I went to go give him a letter, and I was like, "Oh, this is upstairs. Upstairs is pretty busy as well." The size of the classes grew.
Because we were in the masjid, the students from the masjid then came to the classes. The jiu-jitsu classes, yeah. So that's why we got more exposure from the kids who were part of the masjid.
Yeah. How long was the second Nova Vida club open for?
Don't ask me for days.
A couple of years, months?
It was less than a year,
It
right?
wasn't too long.
It wasn't
Okay,
long.
so you went
Wasn't
from the Lum Lane Nova Vida to Tile Street.
Yes.
Okay, and at that point, were you facing similar challenges, like with students, mat
The
space?
students was less. Mat space, we had two mat spaces, but they weren't as big as the Lum Lane mat
Yeah.
space. It was warmer. I remember it being
Yes.
warmer.
It was warm.
So it was a nicer environment. Yeah, the student thing was less of a problem now.
Yeah. So what happened after the second Nova Vida, then onto your third club?
So
What kind
at this point is where Bhai Muhammad stopped jiu-jitsu. Okay, so we moved from Nova Vida at this point. There's been some political issues at Nova Vida. We were like, we're not doing this. We tried going to Pontefract. We've done that trip now. And now at this point, I still want to teach.
Hmm.
Because my whole thing was, and it is to this day, if I'm learning, I'm coaching.
Yeah.
So I was still learning. So I'm like, okay, we need to find somewhere else to coach. And then this is where we moved to Masjid Umar. But we're no longer Nova Vida now.
What were you called at this point?
So we picked a new name and we picked Saracens Jiu-Jitsu.
The yellow and green white lightning.
And this was, we can say, your first individual club, your own independent club,
Yes.
and where you're leading the show, you're
Yeah.
deciding what's getting taught.
Yep.
Did you face any new challenges at that particular point to the other two?
The new challenges here was I realized that if you didn't keep recruiting students, there was a turnover, students left, and your class would get smaller and smaller. So now I had to work out how do I get more students. And the other thing was that I'd learned pretty quickly at this point was you don't charge people, they don't value it as much.
So you were not charging people at the other clubs?
So I think Bhai Muhammad was, and we were giving some to charity at first, and then there was a small period where we said actually we need to get paid, and we got paid for a little while, then we didn't get paid, and it was on and off. It was all sorts. The finances were like up and down all over the place. Like there wasn't a steady thing we were doing. At Masjid Umar, what we decided to do was actually we're gonna charge them because we want them to value it, and then we're gonna put the money back into the mosque. So they kind of giving charity to the mosque.
Masjid Umar was where Saracens was.
This is Saracens,
Okay.
yeah. Because I realized I need to charge them something because they need to value it. But then at this point, I was one of them people like, I don't want to take anything from it because I felt we need to be pure.
Mm.
So then we put the money back into the mosque, which is a noble cause. But those lessons to be learned from that, which we'll come on to next. Going forward, that recruiting people was the lesson that we learned here.
So at the time, there was no social media. Well, there was, but it wasn't that big.
Yes.
And you couldn't obviously use your Snapchats, your Instagrams, or whatever to gather people. What was your method of recruiting people at
So
that
because
point?
we were in the masjid, it was letters to the parents by the students. Yeah. So you'd give letters out, and then as the club dwindled a bit, you give more letters out because new recruits has come through the masjid system, and then you give them the information. Look, we're doing jiu-jitsu on a Saturday. Come. Oh, by the way, this is one session a week.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
We're on one session a week here. That's all we're doing.
Wow.
It's one session a week is on a Saturday, and we deliberately picked the time just before namaz, so it was like from 12 to 1 or something like that. And then you'd go into the prayer hall and you'd read prayers and stuff like that. So it was once a week. We're not talking about big, like now we have sessions every day and multiple sessions and all that. No, that stuff. One session a week.
Wow. So Umar, you at this point probably are quite invested into jiu-jitsu now. It's kind of part of your routine. Normally people will go play football. You're probably doing football and you're doing jiu-jitsu at the time. Can you tell us one or two fond memories when you were at Masjid al-Umar under Saracens?
So this is the time I remember the most. I remember going in and the shutters used to be down and I used to get the keys off Abu and he used to twist the thing and the shutters used to go up. And then all the benches used to be out because we were in a little cabin. It was just literally just a little cabin we were in. All the benches used to be out because it was a mosque we were in the girls' side, so where they had their classes. We used to pick the benches up and we used to stack them up against the far wall, like make a little tower thing with them. And then the mats, there were jigsaw mats, red and white jigsaw mats, and they were stored in the bathroom. There was a shelf in the bathroom, and you used to go and you used to see how much you could carry at once, and you used to try to fit through the doors. And then we had to lay all the mats down the hallway. Yeah. And then at the end of the class, once the class was over, pick all the mats back up, stack them all up. Put them back into the bathroom,
build houses.
Build a
Wow.
little house, crawl through every single time.
Wow. Was
Yeah.
there any particular moment that you still remember very fondly from that particular point?
One of the favorite things we did was training outside. So
Training outside,
training
what, on the
outside.
concrete?
So we just put when it was warm, like now it's warm and we have to turn the fans on and everything in here. None of that. Well, if the sun's out, we're putting mats outside and we're training on the outside
Wow.
In the car park.
in the car park.
Wow.
I
Terrible
remember that.
idea.
I
It
wouldn't
was
have
terrible
joined.
idea, but it sounded like a really good
I
idea.
wouldn't have joined the club. One of the reasons I joined Game Fight Bradford is got the best mats in Bradford. They're more comfortable than my bed. So that's one of the, I don't know how you guys were training on concrete.
Yeah, it was good fun, man. Good fun.
And how long were you there at that point?
I say it was
We
over
were
a
there for a
year.
while. We were there for a while.
Over a
Okay.
year, a couple of years maybe.
I think what I'm taking here is when I'm asking coach for dates and times, I'm not going to ask him anymore because I don't want to say he's got memory like a fish. He hasn't, because I don't remember half the things. But yeah,
I don't care about this. That's why I don't remember.
So after Saracens, so we've gone Nova Vida version 1, Nova Vida version 2, and then you've gone solo at this point. You've at Saracens, Masjid Umar, and Umar is there with you. What was the next step? Where did your journey lead after that?
So we stopped. I stopped coaching at this point. Things got again political. Tend to do when you're training at a masjid.
No chandamona,
So
no mats.
the committee got involved. They want to do this. They want to do that. Whatever happened, and we stopped training. And then we didn't have a place to train, so we stopped. And that was for a while the end of me coaching in Bradford.
Does this go hand in hand when you stop jiu-jitsu as well? Because
Yeah, shortly after that, so I stopped coaching, and then I stopped jiu-jitsu, and then even if I wanted to coach, I can't, right?
you didn't
Because
have a place.
I'm not learning.
Yeah,
My thing was, if I'm not learning, I'm not coaching.
yeah.
I stopped coaching, then I stopped learning, and I'm just like, now I'm not learning, I'm not coaching. And then I'll be honest with you, in my mind, and I said in the other episode, I was done with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and we did a very comprehensive episode on the origins of Coach Babar. So check that out and you'll find out exactly why he stopped, the controversies around it, and what made him get back into it. So we won't give you any spoilers. But so you stopped training at that point, you stopped coaching. That goes hand in hand. You weren't learning, and your ethos is, if I'm not learning, I'm going to stop coaching, which you did. You got back into it. Now, can you fast forward that time when you were not coaching and then going into your next club and where that was and what?
So if you rewind back a little bit, because there is a moment in Saracens that kind of leads into Game Fight. So Game Fight started round about when we were in the Saracens era.
Okay.
And one of the guys at the gym said, these guys are training. They're training over in Liston Mill somewhere. Do you mind if I go train there? And I went, yeah, go for it. So they went down and they had a training session and they came back. And I went, how was it? And he was like mixed reviews here and there. Like it was good, but he certain style of coaching, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, oh, you come with us. I'm like, I'm not gonna come with you. Like because at that time I was at AVT.
Yeah.
My allegiance was with AVT. I'm not, and back in the days it wasn't that where you go from one club to another club, right? If you're part of a club,
It was quite cult back then.
yes,
wasn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm part of Combat Base, I'm part of AVT, I'm not going anywhere. Then I get an invite from Coach Maj at the time, who owned Urban Fitness, and he says, come down. So I went down, had a conversation with him, had a chat. We do training at these times, come down. Right. So now there's an open invite, Game Fight.
Game Fight.
So I went down and Coach James was there. So this is the first time I met Coach James. I had a training session. Cool training session. I got to roll with James. We were both purple belts at the time. We had that training session. But I was at AVT, right?
Yeah.
Then I went, and then what he told me was next Thursday, Coach Mabsy's coming down. So come down and have that conversation. So I went down.
You didn't know Coach Mabsy up until
Never
this
met
point.
him. No.
Okay.
So then I went down, had that next training session. We taught some stuff. Went through the session. At the end, he asked me like who I was with, who training, this, that, the other. And I said, listen, I'm with AVT. I'm staying with AVT. He hadn't asked me to come to Game Fight, but I almost like felt he was gonna, and I didn't want that conversation to happen. So I was like, I'm with AVT. I'm staying with AVT. So that was as far as the conversation went. Right? There was no, come to Game Fight, this, that, we're gonna do anything. He's like, fair enough. respect that. You do your thing. But if you ever want to come train, we're here. I'm like, cool, no problem. Now I stopped training, haven't been training for a while, gone into powerlifting, all this stuff. And then Game Fight happened.
Okay, so while you were at Saracens ABT Combat Base,
Yes.
you got exposure to Game Fight. And so you come back into it, and that's when at the point where you open your next club, it was branded Game Fight, was it?
So, yes, but it wasn't my club.
Okay.
So, go on.
For Game Fight, we were at UFC.
UFC, I forgot about UFC. So UFC there was a guy I know, and he was like, "You need to train us. You need to train us. You need to train us." And I know better now, but I was like, "No, no, no." And eventually, I was like, oh, "All right, then we'll do a session." So we went to UFC, and I used to pay to go on the mats because you used to pay, I think it was $250 or something to get onto the mats. So even as a coach, I was like, "No, okay, here's $250. I'll go on the mats as well." I'm still paying because we're not part of UFC. We're just using the mats,
UFC
right?
is a bodybuilding gym, right?
Yes, yeah. Because we're not part of that. We weren't part of the gym. I was just using the mat space. So you just pay £2.50 and you could use the mat space. So we did that, and we did some lessons there, and a couple of guys came down at that point. You're quite right, Umar. I forgot about that.
I remember that was one of the first times where it got the competitive nature in me.
Yeah.
I got subbed. I don't know if I say person name. Well, I got subbed by someone who's significantly bigger than me, and I was like, you know what? I need to get you back. I can't get you back now, but I will get you back, kind of thing. And since that time, I have gone back.
That was like a driving force for you to excel.
For me, yeah, they were miles bigger than me, and him and his brother, both of them much bigger than me, but they didn't take it easy on me, man. I was a little kid, and I remember vividly as well. Every time it was a Kimura, they would pass my guard, went to Mount Kimura again and again and again and again and again and again. And I was like, one day I'm gonna get you two back. I'm definitely gonna get you back. I can't do it now, but trust me, I'll get you back.
Sweet revenge.
And I've gotten back since then. But I remember vividly being on bottom mount thinking, I'm going to get you back. Top to the Kimura.
Thank you very much, because everyone's getting leg locked by Umar, so I'm presuming it's down to you guys. So thank you very much, whoever you are. Did a great job. Okay, so we went to UFC, and then Game Fight is in the UK at that point. I think based in Leeds, right?
Leeds, yes.
Under Coach Mabsy?
Yes.
Okay, so can you give us the journey from UFC to Game Fight then?
So Game Fight was an accident, and we go into this in the origin story, right? We're in Newcastle. We end up in Newcastle. Umar's being a goalkeeper, and I get introduced to Mubarak, who owns, at this point, Maj just sold Urban Fitness, and Urban Fitness now Mubarak owns it.
Yeah.
And he's showing me on his CCTV, look, these are the mat space, and I'm just like, I'm not interested. But then he's insistent, and then eventually he gets me down.
Yeah.
And that first one, like, I couldn't tap the white belts. I got smashed by the blue belts, and I'm like, I can't leave it like this.
Yeah.
And that's where I got hooked.
Yeah.
So at that point, for me, the structure of the club was, there's Coach Mabsy, who runs Game Fight. There's a Mubarak, who technically owns Game Fight, because he owns that space, and that space is Game Fight. And then there's Maj, and then there's me. That's the kind of hierarchy of the club at the time. But I'm looking at this place, and I'm like, these boys deserve so much. Like, they deserve more. Like, they've got one session on a Monday, and that's all they got. I'm like, we need more. So then I decide I'm going to take the Wednesday class. I'm doing this for nothing at the moment, because I want to do jiu-jitsu, and these boys deserve more, and I want Umar in jiu-jitsu, so we're doing this now. And I got Maj to coach the Fridays. Maj is a busy guy. Coach Maj is a busy guy. So some Fridays he can't do, some Fridays he can do. Whenever he can't do it, I'm doing Fridays as well. So now I'm pretty much doing Wednesdays and Fridays. Then I speak to Coach Mabsy. I'm like, why are you guys coming all the way from Leeds? I'll just take the Mondays.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we're doing Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays.
This is at Bradford.
This is Urban Fitness down the road from where we are now.
Yeah.
So we're doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Right? And I'm not taking anything from this. Right? My aim is just put money into the club.
Yeah.
And then there was a mission statement. And I was like, I want to get serious with this. I want this to grow. I want I want these boys to actually have a home, do jiu-jitsu properly. And from that point, Game Fight Bradford, the iteration is now, was born.
And that was on Wakefield Road, right?
So that dream, that desire was still on in urban fitness. Like towards the end of the urban fitness era, I didn't know it was the end yet. The spark had come back.
So that's where it was born.
That's where it was
where we
born.
started, yeah.
Yeah, that's where we really started. We're like, yes, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it properly. And that's when like we started putting memberships in place. We started putting like
Make it a bit more organized.
organized. I worked out what UKBJJA was, what their requirements were, like how. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not just gonna come in and teach stuff. I'm gonna start like making some sort of syllabus. Like one thing leads into another thing. I'm studying myself a lot more now. Like so, I'm introduced to John Danaher, Gordon Ryan. So I'm learning stuff, and I'm like, I can't watch it and then do it. So now I'm watching it, then trying it, making my adaptations. Then I'm like a couple of months later, I'm showing that stuff. Like, look, guys, this is this move and this is my adaptation, and people are doing this, and we need to do this. So this is where like the passion started coming in, like the real passion.
It's like that's where you were. Obviously, you're already born, but that's where you, as a coach, were born, and where you're taking things into your own hand.
Yes.
You're thinking, this is what I need to do. I need to structure the club in this way. I'm putting infrastructure in there to run a business.
Yes.
Okay, so then,
And this is where, and I remember I've still got the video now. So someone said to me, "Coach, can I get some feedback?" Right?
Yes.
And I remember like we used to record roles at that time as well. So I recorded the role and said, "Coach, can I get some feedback?" And I remember drawing on the actual things, saying, "Look, you should have put your leg here, you should have put your hand here, you should have shrimped here, you should have done this." And I annotated the role. So this was the first point where I started studying. Okay, I'm studying jiu-jitsu, but I started studying my students. What do they need? This person needs to shrimp more. This person needs to be on top more. This person,
solving started.
yeah, this person looks like he's a half guard player. This guy looks like a full guard player. This guy, like, and this is where conversation with Umar happened. Where Umar, so think about Umar. He's 13 years old now.
13, what then? Yeah.
13-year-old. He's rolling with fully grown men.
Wow.
And I remember on the car drive home one day, he says to me, "Abu, like, they're all so strong. What do I do? They're all so strong. They keep beating me because they're strong." I remember he had a role with Babar, and he won't mind us saying this because he tells us himself. And Babar is significantly stronger than Umar now.
I remember this role vividly. I remember
He's significantly bigger than Umar now, but then Umar was a lot skinnier. Umar was weighed less as well, but he was significantly bigger than Umar then. And it was like a 20-minute roll.
We had no time limit roll, and it lasted half an hour.
Yeah.
It was a half an hour round, me and him, when I was 13-ish, and he was big. And I remember it was basically me escaping subs for half an hour. He had so many head and arm triangles on me. Oh my days. I've never been put in so many head and arm triangles in my life. And I don't know, somehow I managed to wriggle out of them because I was so small. And then I think eventually he got me one after half an hour. But yeah, I was helpless. I was just defending head and arm triangles for half an hour straight.
Wow.
And that's where the advice came. You need to attack legs, or you need to take the back. And he chose legs.
And we know the evolution of Umar now as well. And you know what? We might explore the evolution of Umar and have an origins about him.
100% we should.
Yeah, we are going to do that.
If you want that, let us know in the comments.
100%.
That was when you stepped up the coaching, I remember. Like, there were so many, like, you used to record the classes. Like, one of the guys here, Gear Boss,
Yeah.
he always talks about how he goes back and watches one specific banana splits instructional every single time. But I remember, like, I've got it on my phone somewhere, I'm pretty sure, where there's a list of loads of moves, and you used to record rounds a lot. And I remember, I've got on my phone as well, one of the early rounds between me and Musab.
Wow.
And we were both about 13, 14. It's absolutely terrible. We're both absolutely terrible. But, like, it's good to show the progression of both our games and how the club's grown and helped us both in our journeys.
100%. Okay, so you've moved to Wakefield Road now.
So we're still at Urban Fitness. This is where the dream has come true, like the started. And then some political stuff happened at Urban Fitness. I hate politics.
As we can tell.
So some political stuff happened at Urban Fitness, and we have to move. And I remember the conversation I had. So we didn't have a place. So I've said to Mubarak that, listen, we can't stay here. We're moving. And this is my month's notice. We'll be here for a month. I think it was October, start of October. I gave him a month's notice. We're done. End of this month, we're going. I haven't found a place to go yet. but I can't stop jiu-jitsu now. Like, this isn't like a masjid.
Are in now, are
This
you?
isn't a Masjid Umar where
Yeah.
I'm stopping. I've got this fire back now. We need to do jiu-jitsu, right? I've got my brown belt at this point as well, right? So I'm not purple, I'm a brown belt now, right? Like we're too far in, right? Umar's invested. Issy, Adam has started coming. Like I remember Issy, Adam came in one day without Issy, and I'm like, where is he? And he's like,
Yes. I remember that day.
Issy never misses a class.
Never.
If you know Issy, he never misses a class, right? And Adam starts laughing. He comes out there. Oh, he's just had a baby. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. He come out there. But he was trying to get out. He was still trying to get to jiu-jitsu, but we had to say no. You're staying.
Crazy guy, man.
Like this was with students and with boys who wanted to learn that much. I knew I couldn't. So
Yeah.
Coach Matt has has an offices up at up Wakefield Road. He says, "Come see me. Like, let's work something out." Because I'm like, "Listen, I'm in your hands now." So I went up to his place and sat in his office, and he's telling me about like where he used to train. And he showed me he had a little gym space there. I went up to see that, and I went, "Oh, this could work," but it just wasn't big enough. There was no expansion in it. And then he came down and he showed me these offices. And he says, "Baba, if we just knock all these offices down, we do this, we do that." And he had it in his mind. You could see it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, I can see in Coach Majid's there. He has this plan. But I can't see it because all I see is offices. And the network cables everywhere. And I'm just like, how? Like, yeah, it's a mess. And I'm like, how will we come out of it? Listen, you don't worry. You leave it to me. And then I'm like, we need mats. Where are we going to get mats from? And he's like, I got this guy in Oldham. So I ring him. So I ring this guy in Oldham. He's like, oh, come down and I'll show you. So I went down, and I'll be honest, the mats were terrible. But I'm like, okay, so there were 25 mil mats, and we already had 25 mil mats at Masjid Umar. Because once we finished at Masjid Umar, I'd bought them mats home because I'd paid for them, right? I bought them mats home. I'm like, okay, so now if we put them together, like, we got 50 mil mats. And that's where, the dual layer construction we use at Game Fight, this is where that was born. So we had them new mats, which were okay, right? And then we put the Masjid Umar mats on them. And when we jumped on them, I'm like, actually, you know what? These are all right. Then Maj had some mats, so we used them mats. So that's why in the old Wakefield road play, if you went on one side of the mats, really soft. When the other side of them, they were not so soft.
There was three sections. So you had you walk into the door and it was okay. It wasn't too bad. Then you go to the right a little bit, and that was Issy's corner.
Yeah.
Issy was always in that. If you're ever looking for Issy, he's on the soft part. Yeah, Issy's always on the soft part, and you don't go to that corner because that's Issy's corner.
Yeah.
All you go if you were training with him, and then you go past the big bit of tape, and that bit will rock hard.
Yeah.
You never go on that side. That side is where you send all the new white belts. You guys go to that side.
It's closer to where everyone used to sit.
Yeah, where the podium goes. So you send all the new white belts to that side because they don't know yet, and you get the soft bit. Ask Issy for permission if you can go next to him.
So at this point, you're at Game Fight. It's born. It's done. You're invested. Umar's there training. Your boys are kind of established now. Your people are established. The club is established. And that's the point where I got introduced to the club as well.
Yes.
And I think when I joined, when my little one joined first, I could see the culture already. So I'm presuming that the culture was developed prior to that. What were the core values at that point of Game Fight, your Game Fight?
So this was slightly before you joined. We were at Wakefield Road, and this was where we started building the club. And it wasn't my values, so to speak, at this point. Because at this point, it was just, I wanted to teach jiu-jitsu. I hadn't realized the role I had with kids at this point. Right? So there were kids classes, but they were like Umar and Osman, my own kids. Right? Yeah. And maybe then a couple of more kids came and a couple of more kids came. Then I realized, we're getting the kids class. And now it's a class. And then we started doing then core values started coming, respect, discipline, all that stuff. We realized we need to push that onto the kids. The core values really came from the people that came with us to Wakefield Road, the Issys, the Adams. If you look at all these guys, we're all pretty much of the same nature. Right? We're not extroverts. We're all introverts. We're all very respectful. Like, you never hear Adam or Issy raise their voice.
Yeah.
bigger boss used to come. Like all these guys are all of the same nature, very respectful, very humble guys. And that's what really brought clubs, what we call our core values, our nature, our atmosphere. That's what really brought that to me. It's that core, what I call the founding members. Right? The guys who were at Urban Fitness with us and they came across, them guys are really what bought the class. Musab was there as well. Umar, obviously. So them guys are what bought the culture of the gym, bought it to what it was.
And can you give us a snapshot on your transition from the Wakefield Road game fight to the game fight where we're at now, and what made you kind of, because I can imagine there would have been such a risk and a responsibility financially, expectations for kids. What made you jump from Wakefield Road to such a massive kind of premises now?
When we went to Wakefield Road, what I started realizing is actually we need exposure. So this is where the social media started still coming out. So we started doing social media stuff and started pushing all that good stuff. We moved because we ran. There was a distinct point where I was teetering on, we need to find a new place. We're okay, this, that, that. I asked a few people. Some people said we're okay. Some people said we're not. But I'm like, the moment I actually realized that we need to move was I was rolling with Issy and there was some spazzy white belts. And they rolled, and one of them black heel, the heel hit Issy in the back of the head.
Wow.
And we're talking about Issy a lot. Maybe we need to get him on the podcast. But Issy doesn't go down for anything. Like he's a stoic, strong, like ridiculously strong for his size type of guy, like straight shooter. But when he went down, like he crooked his head and he was like red, like he was hurt, and I was like, oh, sugar.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna start happening more. And then the kids class, I think we had about, when we hit 30 kids, it was just it was rammed on the mats. And I'm like, well, we can't fit anymore in here. We have to do something else. And another class wasn't really an option. So at that point, we had to move. And that's when I went back to Coach Maj, sat in that same office, that I sat to find this place. I went, Coach, we need to find a new place.
Yeah. And lo and behold, it's evolved into what it is. So you've moved into the Lister Mills building.
Yeah. So this bit was scary because in a previous business that I had, I'd gone into debt, and I eventually had to go to my dad and say, listen, and I was really young and I went into debt and it was about $1,000 and I didn't know a way out of it. And I was like, would you help? So he just dropped $1,000 and went, there you go. And I never, like, from that point, I was like, I need to be really careful with money. And I'm terrible with money.
Alhamdulillah, he's a millionaire.
No.
Buys anything. You know more than me.
I'm definitely not a millionaire.
Yeah.
But I'm very impulsive in my purchases. Say that. So this place, we needed like 12, 15 grand to get this place to where it is today. So I rung up one of the brothers and I went, listen, I need this money. And I went, how much can you do? And he goes, just send me your account number. I'm like, just let me know how much you can, because I need to ask other people. Yeah. He said, I'll let you know tomorrow. Just send me your account number, and then tomorrow. And he just transferred the whole lot. And I went, when do you want it back? And he's like, we'll sort that. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah. When do you want it back? He goes, listen, set the club up, get it started, see how much is coming in through the door. Then we'll sit down and work out how much. Alhamdulillah, today we're debt free. But that was the scary point when it came to finances. And I can't have people in debt and then me do something else. So like now on the back of my mind is like, I have to make this work.
Yeah.
Whereas Wakefield Road, it was like, if it works, it works. Like the rent was dirt cheap. There was no way we weren't making that rent. But now we've got the rent, we've got heating, we've got electric, we've got all sorts of other stuff. And I'm just like, now I've got this debt on my head. That was the scary thing about moving here.
Yeah, and that's a nice segue into the next kind of section of this podcast. So you moved into a bigger area, mat space. You've got bigger rents, bigger overheads. You've developed your core values and your image. Game Fight Bradford. Can you tell us a couple of obstacles and breakthrough moments you had with this particular club at the beginning?
In this place, I think what I realized was that I didn't have to be someone else. Right? So we talked about in our belt series where we talk about that imposter syndrome when you get a new belt. So it happened when I got my black belt. Right? Am I really black belt?
Yeah.
Like when I got my black belt, I competed at black belt and I lost my first match. And I'm like, I'm a black belt. What's going on here? Right? But then I'm like, okay, let's keep going, let's keep pushing. And I realized I am what I am, right? My coach is giving me my black belt. He believes I'm a black belt. I'm a black belt. But I just need to be me. Right? And if I'm true to myself, true to my values, right? People like it, they'll come. If they don't like it, they'll go. And I stopped worrying about the whole thing about, like what people are going to think. And I need to appease these people. I need to appease these people. That stuff stopped mattering.
So you had a lot of kind of obstacles within yourself.
Yes. The main obstacles were within myself.
Yeah.
I think externally, like doing the work, I didn't mind doing work. Like alhamdulillah, like Coach Maj came in the morning at 6 o'clock and he'd graft and then he'd go and then I'd come and I'd put in the shift. So the work was going to get done.
Yeah.
But what we're doing and the mission statement and all that stuff, is it going to work? I had the mission statement in my head from Urban Fitness. We didn't really get the people up at Wakefield Road to see it flourish. But now we've moved location. It's got bigger. It's got more expensive. I'm in debt. Is this going to work? Are we going to be able to achieve all these goals that I want to achieve? Are we going to impact the community the way I want to impact the community? Are we going to be able to do all of that stuff? And that was the stuff which was like,
Did you feel like at the time that you had to rebuild the identity of Game Fight Bradford, or was it the identity was already built in the Wakefield place?
I think we started to get known because we did compete a little bit. So we started to get known a little bit. I remember people coming over to us and go, "Oh, where do you train?" And Game Fight Bradford. And we started getting the name out there. I remember Issy's very first competition came over. When he came off the mats, he was just shaking. Yeah. He's like, "Dude, what's up?" Because I didn't hear a word you said. I'm like, fantastic. I was just screaming on the top of my lungs. He did win. He did win. So we started building the identity.
Yeah.
But it skyrocketed when we got here.
Honestly, I think the facilities, the location is key to that. And also, obviously, the culture that you brought with you. Now, just Umar, when your dad and when yourself moved over, was there any kind of concerns you had? Were you excited? We've got a new place. And what was going through your head at that time?
What's gonna happen? Like we were at a place where we had about 30 kids on the mats, and I started coaching then. So I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna get better? Is it gonna get worse? What's it gonna be like? How's everything gonna work? What's it gonna like? I feel like at that time I got more involved in the coaching and day-to-day club work. Yeah, it was just what's next? How are we gonna grow? What does growth in the BJJ gym actually look like? Where can we go with it? That was my thing. That was my thing about moving.
Kind of like natural concerns, the concerns of the unknown.
Yeah, and like, did we move to the right place? Cause I remember after training Wakefield Road, we used to go drive around anywhere that had a for sale or to let sign. It was like, all right, next time that place has got somewhere, and we'd go there for a bit, see what the place was like. Okay, let's drive out, and we would drive somewhere else and see that place for let. So is this the right place? And when I walked in first, I'm like, wow, this is big. But it was a lab before, so it was concrete on the floor all the way. It was just concrete and bare walls. I was like, what are we gonna do with this place?
Yeah.
I remember when I came into this place, it was when we talk about Coach Maj having the vision. When I walked into this place, I had the vision. Up until this point, every gym that we had trained at was not a dedicated gym. But Wakefield Road was. But Wakefield Road, we didn't have the finances to do it how we wanted to do it. We had to do it with what we had.
Yeah.
This place, the vision was immediate. I remember there was a couple of boys here and they were like, "Oh, why don't you put a 1 meter runway down here so parents can sit and watch on the logo side." There was no logo side yet, right? But by that point, the vision in my mind was made. And I'm like, nah, from here to the wall is 20 meters, all going to be mats. And they were like, no, but this, that. I'm like, listen, boys, anything that side of this line, you can do what you want. But from here to the wall, it's going to be mats. And then I started doing loads of research about what types of mats. I wanted the floor to be suspended. It had to be a suspended floor. And they were like, oh, no, we can put these mats on the floor, get Fuji mats, Dolman. I'm just like, no, listen, I know what mats I want. And I did loads of research about types of form, open cell form, closed cell form, thickness of form. I did loads of that research. Anyway, so I knew what form, and then the types of types of wood allows the flex. So we've got two different types of wood on the floor. One allows the flex, one's sat one way, one sat the other way. So like all this research had gone into it. Like I knew what I wanted when I walked in the door, and Coach Maj goes, "This is a nice place," and I went, and I immediately the sketches came in my mind. And I'm like, "Coach, this is the one." So yeah, so when we got to this place, I was like, "We're gonna do it properly."
Yeah, because it's like a blank canvas for you.
100%. Like Umar was saying, it was just concrete walls, concrete floor.
Yeah.
And like I bought that laser thing, like 'cause I wanted everything to be exact. I'm like, it's 20 meters from here, boys. Draw the line. I'm like, anything behind there, organize what you want. This is my space.
I can imagine from the bare walls to what is that included a lot of late nights, a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a few F's and whatever and all that. And is there any particular night that you could remember where you thought, you know what, I might have bitten off a bit more than I can chew here?
So the vision was there, the dream, the goal was it was all there at this point. And it was all just a drive to get it. I just needed people on the mats.
Yeah.
Once I got people on the mats, I knew like we could make this work. So the doubts that I had about can we make it work, once we were in the space,
We're gone.
I was just like, they weren't gone, but like I felt more and more confident. First time I made at home, I made this contraption of the mats. Like I had a few of them about different types of form and different. A parcel would come, it'd be massive. And we're like, what is it? I'm like, almost new form.
We had so many different types of foam and top at home. Oh my days.
And then I'd put them together. Like I'd put the foam pads, I'd put the piece of wood. Then Umar would come home. I'm like, Umar, stand on that.
I remember that. We were standing on that, and it didn't feel like, yeah, but it feels the same. But still do. It's just foam, man.
You were basically making different sandwiches and different sandwich fillings.
Yes. But the one had to be right. And then we found the right one. And I'm like, this is the one. Yeah. And then we ordered loads of them.
And then the shift to actually get it on the mats.
Yeah, to make it here.
So, like, that was a team effort.
Yeah.
Like, the effort you put in, Maj put in, Cash put in, Carney put in.
Yeah.
All these boys.
Came down.
Adam did the painting, all that tea. Like, the shift I was put in to actually get this place to what it is now was crazy.
Because at that point, we gave notice at that place to say we're leaving. Yeah. And Coach Marsh was the landlord, so you would have extended it if we wanted. But the type of person I'll give my notice, I'm going to get it's done, right? So building this place, I took 2 weeks of work. So I was here every day. Maj was here in the morning. It was.
The founding brothers were
100%. They all came. Yeah. They all came.
I remember the most is when the top came, and it was unbelievably heavy. And then we were like, how on earth are we gonna get that top on this? And we tried so many techniques. We were here for ages.
When I ordered,
honestly, we were like waving the thing. Yeah, to get the thing out, or we'd lay it out and then we get another roll of top and try to roll the bubbles out. Or we tried, I remember we all stood down that side and we pulled it and none of it moved and it made more bubbles. And we're like, we've been doing this for 3 hours and we made 3 hours worth of bubbles. Honestly, it took us ages.
When I ordered the top, so they asked about, you get different thicknesses of top. And when I went on the website previously, they had the thickest one was 610 GSM. I ordered that for the other place.
Okay.
When it came to this, they had some 900.
Okay, thicker.
And you know me when it comes to stuff like that. Like,
it costs more, he's buying it.
So I put the ordering online, right? And it cost a lot, the top did, right? And the guy rung me the next day, right? He goes, what are you using this for? Because we ordered a massive amount of top, right? And I'm like, oh, it's an MMA, it's a Jiu-Jitsu gym and we're putting it on the floor. He's like, listen, do you know how thick this top is? Like, I'm like, no. He's like, go for the one below. I don't know. No, it's not sending me a thick. Wait, thick.
Okay.
So I'm like, no, give us that one. I want that. I don't want the other one. Right? I've already got that. I want it better. And he's like, this thing's gonna weigh 250 kilos.
Wow.
Like, how are you gonna like roll this out? I'm like, listen, that's my problem.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right then. He's like, it's gonna like I'm gonna have to drag it around my warehouse. It's gonna get some scuffs on it. I'm like, listen, scuff the bottom side. I don't care. But if you're doing it, we're doing it like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he sent it out. And the thing is, we put it out and we did all of that. And remember the crease?
Yes, there was a crease over there.
There's a crease over there because you can see. Sorry, you can see there's a patch going that way. That's because there was a crease. After we put it out, and we tried and tried and tried to get that crease out, right? We realized that when they were welding the piece of plastic together, they'd folded it.
Okay.
So when I rung the guy, I kind of listen, there's a fold in it. He says, wrap it up. I'll send a pallet and I'll turn it back and I'll fix it.
Wow.
Oh, not doing that again. Mate, I took ages.
What we did though, we sent it back. He fixed it, brought it back, and then we had to do it all over again.
Yeah.
And I remember when it came, we sat there with 2 heat guns.
Yeah.
And there were creases going along the mats. So we were there for literally ages, heat gunning the creases, trying to get them out.
Well, I didn't want
And
the
we moved
creases.
all the way open
Well,
on
we're
the
doing,
mats.
we're doing it properly, so we heat gunned the creases out of it.
Yeah. I think one of the best decisions you made is to make the club white.
That wasn't my decision, hands up. It wasn't. Umar and Rizwan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fire is.
Good. It looks so good. What made you want to do white?
AOJ just looks sick.
Yeah,
And I was like, I want AOJ style.
Yeah, and with the logo as well.
Yeah, and then with the logo as centerpiece, yeah, 100%.
Okay, so we've gone through the journey of all the hard sleepless nights you had, the risk you took. Umar had concerns. The boys are with you. They ride or die. They're getting the club up and running. It's now up and running. Throughout that journey, did you have any moment of thinking, you know what, I don't want to do this. It's too much.
There wasn't a time when I said, I don't want to do this. There have been down points,
Yeah.
100%. Sometimes I've had a hard day at work, been stressful, or like either had a long shift at work. Sometimes I've had to do work, jiu-jitsu, go back to work, that type of stuff. So have I had down points? Yes, we've had down points. Have I ever said, so since we've been here, ever said that I don't want to do this? No, never.
Yeah. I think the way it is, it would be not smart to have that thought right now, how successful the club is. So it's up and running now. We've seen a very high, steep trajectory in terms of the individuals coming in, especially the kids class.
Yeah.
We counted 84 kids the other day, alhamdulillah, which is massive. And it just testament to the coaching, the club, the culture. Has there been what was your first breakthrough moment when you realized, you know what, I've actually done this?
I'll be honest, it was the open day. Remember the open day?
Yeah.
It was rammed.
Yeah.
We filled the mats out in the open day, and I'm looking at Umar. I'm like, Umar, we need a bigger place. We had the wrestling class in the morning, and then we had the open day, which like anyone come and train, and there were kids everywhere. And I'm just like, Umar, we need more mats. I'm like, what's going on here? So at that point, I was like, okay, we done good here.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the, because when you moved into the place, I was my little ones were already training, and from an outsider, when I thought to myself, you know what, Babar's done really well here, and his team has done really well, is when you had your first internal comp for the kids. And for me, as an outsider, as a customer at that point, was, you know what, they've done really well as a club. You had this internal comp. The atmosphere was great. How was that feeling for you when you had that first internal comp?
Stressful as
So
hell.
stressful. Oh my days. I hate them.
So I'm not particularly good with admin.
Okay.
Admin's not as strong. I like jiu-jitsu. I don't like admin. There's a lot of admin in running a club. There's even more admin when you decide you're going to put on an internal comp. Because now there's medals and who's coming where, and there's parents ringing you and you're having to do this. Where should I put my kid? And then there's divisions and brackets and all sorts of craziness that you need to do. So it was stressful. On the day, it was really good because I remember there was a couple of parents who like, oh, my kid's not going to do well, this, that, the other. And there's one particular match I remember where it was by Rizwan again. And he's like, oh, my daughter, like she's going to get battered, this, that, the other. And I went, listen, there's no chance she's getting battered. She's going to win. And then she won. And it's not like me. And I was surprised at myself to get up and like shout at someone like, yes, I told you. But there was so much invested in that match. I got up and I started shouting at him. Then I had to check myself. Like I tell all the parents, I'm like, behave yourself. Like I got up and I shouted at him. I'm like, oh. But in terms of the event,
Yeah.
the fact that I didn't have to do much
Yeah.
is a testament to the team.
Yeah.
Because like people see me as the forefront, as the face of Game Fight. But in that last comp that you're talking about, that I didn't have to do much. Like the referees were on point. Umar did a lot of the admin behind. Ismail had come by. Mohammed came to help. There was photography. Z came down to photo. Like the team worked it out. Rizwan's daughters came to do the table stuff.
Yeah. Fezzi came when he could, yeah.
Yeah, Fezzi came down. So like the team came together.
So well organized, I remember. But I remember seeing Umar as well to the lead up, and you were like smiling and laughing. And this is not at the competition itself, but a couple of weeks. And I was always asking, "Oh, what's going on? What's happening? How are you doing? How are you doing that?" And it was always seemed to be like Umar used to be stressed. So why were you stressed?
Because I had a lot to do. So when you're setting up competitions, there's a lot to do. So the way we typically do it is you get a list of what you need. So you need two refs, two main refs, two backup refs, two table refs, and then you need a person at the front desk taking money, a person taking weight, and then you need someone to call the kids. Sometimes you need two of them as well. And then you need two photography as well. That's 12 people you need. So you make them first and you fill them in as much as you can. And now you need to go and try to find people to fill them spaces. And I don't do that, I'll be honest with you. I get Abu does that and he finds the people, and then I'll just keep on asking him, making sure that's done.
I won't do it. So
Yeah.
you're like, we got this person, we got this person, we got this person.
And then we need the kids. So it wasn't too bad when it was just us. But when we do it between clubs now is when it gets a little bit harder. Now I need to go into this form and I need to see the kids weights of the kids. And then lots of people enter, and I ask you to please stop doing this. Lots of people enter without putting the weight in.
Yeah.
So now I need to chase the kid up and say, stand on the scale. And I'll stand on the scale, cool, and that's done. Or someone enters a weight that's completely insane. So a 14-year-old will weigh 4.3 kilos. And I'm like, are you sure? What's going on? So then now I need to check the kid's weight again. And then kids who sign up the under 40 kilos coming in at 60 kilos, and you're like, what? Yeah, they've had a burger or 10, and then moving the weights around on the day. And then kids coming who haven't signed up to the comp asking they can compete, you need to deal with that. And then parents have questions about why the kids were given a point or not given a point, or why the kid won or lost.
Oh, wow.
You need to deal with that, and there's just a lot to deal with.
A lot to deal with, but yeah, I can imagine that explains why you were stressed. But I mean, for me, like I said, that point really showed it was, you could tell the club is successful now. It's created, its culture is set, it's here to stay. So that was yesterday for the club.
Yes.
And we know how it is today for the club. The culture is very much influenced by Islam. And that doesn't mean that only Muslims can come to the club, because we take the best out of Islam and you incorporate it into how you teach, your ethos, your mannerisms and so on. What do you see as tomorrow for the club?
This is an interesting one because we're forever talking about what's next. So we've just started striking classes. The one thing that's always bugged me silently is we're called Game Fight. But in Jiu-Jitsu, we don't fight.
There's no fighting. There's just hugging.
Wrestling, there's no fighting.
Yeah.
But now I feel like we are Game Fight, because now that element of it allows us to call ourselves a fight. We just started striking classes, Muay Thai with Coach Gassi, who's a purple belt in BJJ. He's one of our founding members as well. So he's brought that element, which is a fantastic element to the club. There's more that we're always thinking of doing. I put our timetable, I sent that to Umar, and he's like, oh my God, look at the amount of stuff we've changed in the timetable. There's forever syllabus changes. Like, "Oh, this is new. I need to teach the people, the kids or the adults are not doing this. We need to do that stuff. How are we going to make the coaching for the kids better? Like at the moment, you're saying the 83 kids, alhamdulillah, but like we need to make it so each of them kids gets more attention, gets better coaching. How do we do that? The coaching plan that Umar's putting together, the coaching plan that I'm putting together, Musab's doing something for his kids. What's the rotation like? So they're just whatever.
It's ever evolving, isn't it?
It's ever evolving. So yeah, and I'm thinking about the mats. I want a new construction on mat.
Oh
So
wow, already it's only been a couple of years.
2 years,
Yeah.
2 years. But yeah, I want a different type of mat. J Flow's coming.
Yeah, and we will mention that towards the end.
Yeah, so J Flow's coming and we're doing all of that stuff. We're holding a that comp you're talking about. We're doing that towards the
In
end.
November.
The combat submission series is coming to here. So Costas is bringing that here as well. So they just had one recently at Guerrilla Academy in Huddersfield. Now they're bringing it here. So we're going to host that.
Wow.
And
these are all kind of like pointers to how successful the club is, that you're getting affiliated with these other people who have been doing, whose clubs have been open for a lot longer. And I think that's just, it shows the name that you've created, the brand.
It shows a community of good people. Like Jiu-Jitsu full of good people. And Costas is one of them, absolute gem. So with him coming to Game Fight, is just testament to once of being competitors and fighting against each other, to the friendship that we've grown.
You've had some
since.
wars together, haven't you?
Yeah. We got 3 and that's it. We're done.
They're all men now.
Yes, that's it.
They got some pressure though, I can tell you that much. Wow.
So the club is quite established now. It's very established. You know, we have, you have merch for the club. You've got proper outfit. You have a competition team. The team's been going out up and down the country competing. How does it make you feel when you see the adults, the kids, they're wearing Game Fight, and you're seeing the kids and the adults medaling? We're bringing home a lot of medals. It's been a successful year. How does that make you feel in terms of the business? That, oh, you know what, we've actually done it.
In terms of business, it doesn't make me feel all that. Like, so I don't know anything about business. I'm still learning. But as a coach, it makes me feel very proud. But it's the one thing that I always say when people say that, oh, I'm coming to your gym, as in my gym. This isn't my gym, and I've said that forever. And it's an ethos my father has put in me. It's ours, right? Because there's a famous saying about a teacher in an empty classroom is just like a madman shouting to himself. Right? There's of no use. There's no one to listen to the story. There's no one to listen to the lesson. The knowledge is wasted. It's only when you add students that now the teacher sounds like he's knowledgeable.
Yeah.
If you put a teacher alone in a room and make him teach, he just sounds like a crazy guy. But it's the students that make us what we are. Like, medals on the wall, on our competition wall, and some of them are mine.
Yeah.
But most of them are the students. So though I feel like it's part of my effort,
Yeah.
fundamentally they went to get it. So it's that what makes me feel immensely proud that the journey, and we were talking about this with your little one, the journey between the first competition and the last competition. And I see that in all, like Bezzy between his first competition and his gold medal, and now he's pushing hard, and now he's going out to the Euros. Umar between his first, I remember his first one of his first comps, not the first one. He got the guy in an ankle lock 5 times. He came away so frustrated.
Yeah.
He's like, 5 advantage points I got, Abuji.
Wow.
And I was like, listen, you've done the hard work. Trust me, just keep on it. And now he doesn't need 5 attempts at an ankle to get it, right? So this is the evolution, and you see this through like even people who don't compete, watching them grow. Like sometimes you have to step back and you know what, they've done really well there.
Yeah, and
that's that bit makes me proud, where people have put in the effort and they've grown.
Yeah. If you can give me a few words that come to your mind from where you initially started and to where you are here, what word comes to mind to explain the journey that you've been on?
I'd say like passion. Like you gotta have this dream and a passion for something, and then believe in it and do it. And you're gonna fail. That's the thing. That's the scary bit, right? You're gonna fail. And we fail so much times. And we fail now. We fail all the time. Like sometimes I teach a move and I'm just like, no one got that.
Yeah.
That's a learning lesson, right? That's a learning lesson. I've done that. I've done that so many times where I've taught a move and I'm not fail. I'm like, okay, cool. Make a note of that. I need to change that. And that's where Umar was talking about earlier, the 1, 2, 3 system. It's come from so many failures. And I apologize to all my students that I failed teaching. But you were the building block, the foundations of what this place is built on now.
So we've explored from the beginning to the end Coach Babar's journey, starting from Nova Vida with Coach Mohammed, then going solo into the wilderness, and how he's battled through all of the obstacles that have come in front of him, and how he's made it successful with his team and his son. To the boys, Issy, Kani, you mentioned, Adam, all these guys, you were all,
Musab, don't forget him.
Musab as well, you were all the supporting blocks for what we have now. I mean, the club is thriving now, alhamdulillah. They have, a competition team. They have so many classes, as Coach mentioned. They have your Jiu-Jitsu, you have Muay Thai, you have wrestling, submission grappling, kids classes, 5, 6, 7 times a week. We've got J-Flow coming, which is massive, one of the best stand-up coach, and you've got different affiliations coming to the premises. It's just testament to how good the facilities are over here. If you are thinking about sending your kids or adults, you're thinking about joining a gym, please check Game Fight Bradford out. There's classes for all levels. It's a very family-friendly, orientated gym. I'm testament to that. You really do feel welcome. And I just want to say, Coach, you should be proud of yourself from where you've come. And, you really have put community first, and excellent is our standard. We just see that every single day. And also to Umar as well, you've supported your dad in this. I'm sure he's very grateful. We don't have the time to go into all of that, but I'm sure he is. He's very appreciative of your support for the club as well. Like I said, guys, there's classes on every day of the week for children, for adults, wrestling, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's a week's free trial part of your kind of induction into the club, and then Coach can have a word with you. So if you are thinking about, please come and check us out. And that is the origins of Game Fight Bradford. What a journey we've been on. I've enjoyed it. I'm sure you've enjoyed telling it, and Umar's telling about his nightmares and concerns. Again, let us know some of the boys who were part of the journey in the comments, how you guys felt. Are any of our viewers thinking about creating a business? Coach might drop some gems for you, as he always does. Again, like, share, and subscribe on our podcast, and we'll be dropping one next week as well. Game Fight Bradford.